You ever wonder how a thriller, a real nail-biter of a story, gets written not by one person, but by a whole group of people, basically in real time? Well, today, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to pull back the curtain on a live storytelling game and see how a group of players and their director built an incredible, high-stakes story right from thin air. Let's dive in. So, check this out. The story kicks off right in the thick of it. No warm-up, no long intros, just pure crisis mode. We hear this frantic phone call and bam, we learn that our group of characters has just kidnapped someone important. And now they've got this huge ticking time bomb of a problem just sitting in the trunk of their car. This right here, this is the moment that lights the fuse for everything that's about to happen.
All right, so here's our roadmap. We're going to follow this story through 5 main parts. We've got a body in the trunk, facing the sheriff, the high-speed convoy, sanctuary under siege, and finally a mission in vain. And as we go, we'll hit pause and look under the hood a little bit. See the actual game mechanics that the players and their director, the game master, are using to steer this crazy ride.
Okay, Act 1, a body in the trunk. The storytellers here have thrown us right into the deep end, or what you'd call in media res. The players, who control this tight-knit group of characters they call a coterie, didn't just wake up and decide to kidnap somebody. Oh no, this is the result of something else, some other conflict that just went completely off the rails. And now, they're stuck cleaning up the mess.
And this is a really important thing to get your head around in these games. It's the difference between the player and the character. Think of it like an actor and their role. You've got the real person sitting at the table, making the decisions. That's the player. Then you have the fictional person they're controlling inside the story. That's the character. This split is what makes it all so cool, because the player might know something the character doesn't, which creates all this awesome dramatic tension. The character is just reacting to what's happening to them, moment to moment.
And it's not just external threats they have to worry about. The danger is coming from inside, too. See, these characters? They're vampires, and that comes with a little thing called hunger. It's a game mechanic, basically a number that tracks how badly they need to feed. The director keeps asking about their hunger levels, because the higher that number gets, the closer they are to losing control, to their inner beast just taking over. It's this constant, gnawing pressure that pushes players to make some really desperate and sometimes terrible choices.
So how do you move the story forward when you're in a jam like this? Well, you have to interact with the world. And that's exactly what one player does. She decides her character is going to make a phone call to her boss, the sheriff. Now, the sheriff isn't another player. He's what's called an NPC, a non-player character, controlled by the director. And with this one phone call, this one choice, the player just took their personal screw-up and made it a massive political headache.
Right, Section 2, facing the sheriff. That phone call, well, it leads directly to this. Now they're not just dealing with a problem in their trunk, they have to stand in front of their boss and justify the chaos. They've got to explain themselves, and you can just feel the stakes getting higher and higher.
And listen to this. This is such a great example of how the players themselves are writing the story. The character Frost is explaining what went down, but it's more than that. The player is performing. He's trying to justify what was, let's be honest, a really violent act. He's trying to spin it, He's framing the whole thing not as a messy brawl, but as an act of self-defense. He's shaping the narrative in real time.
Now, the sheriff isn't just worried about the kidnapping itself. He's got a much bigger concern: the masquerade. Think of it as the #1 cardinal rule for all vampires. You absolutely cannot let humans know you exist. It is the law. So when he asks, did anybody else see you do this? That's not just a casual question. That is everything. It's a constant threat hanging over their heads, boxing them in and limiting what they can do.
And this is a classic move by the director, the game master. He doesn't just fix their problem for them. No way. He gives them a new problem, a way more dangerous one. Suddenly, the game isn't about hiding a body anymore. The mission has changed. Now it's a high-risk escort mission. He just turned their little mess into a full-on action thriller.
All right, let's get to the good stuff. Section 3, the high-speed convoy. This is where things get really unpredictable, because the director has set the stage for total chaos. And what happens next? Well, it's going to be a mix of smart player choices and the complete random luck of the dice.
So the director makes his move. Bam! A huge semi-truck just plows into the convoy, cars scattering everywhere. It's pure chaos. This is the threat. And now, the player, whose character is driving, has to react. She's got to make a drive check. Basically, she rolls some dice based on her character's skill behind the wheel to see if she can get them out of there. The story isn't just being told, it's being played. And this
This is the heart of the game, right here. This is the loop. The player declares what they want to do. I'm shooting my shotgun at that car. Then he grabs a handful of dice based on his character's stats and he rolls. The result? A messy critical. That means basically he succeeded, but with a complication. So the director takes that result and turns it into story. Your shot rips into the car's radiator, but it's still coming. You see that? Action, roll, result. That's the engine that drives everything.
Okay, so after all that chaos, they actually managed to get away. They shake their pursuers and make it to the safe house, this old bookstore that's secretly a front for a secure bunker. And for just a second, you can feel everyone breathe a sigh of relief. They think they're safe. They think it's over.
But of course, it's never that simple, right? The story doesn't just stop. They get down into the safe house, and it's not empty. There are other people there, powerful sorcerers, no less, and they've got their own reasons for being there, their own agenda. It's a great way to make the world feel real and lived in. The players aren't the center of the universe. They've just stumbled into something much bigger.
And I love this next part. It's a fantastic bit of teamwork, and there's no fighting involved at all. It's all about solving a puzzle. So one player uses a special power to sense something magical and unseen on the windows. But he doesn't know what it is, so he turns to another player's character and asks her to describe the magical runes she can see. Then, using her description, he makes a dice roll based on his character's knowledge of the occult to figure it all out. It's like one person has the tool, another has the eyes, and together they solve the mystery. That's pure collaborative storytelling.
And now for the grand finale. The prisoner is locked down. The boss is on site. Everything looks like it's wrapping up nice and neat. But this is where the director drops the bomb. This is the final brutal twist in the story.
Just look at how fast everything goes wrong. 1 minute the sheriff is there, everything's under control. A few minutes later, a high-ranking official shows up, and then, a minute after that, he's gone. And a minute after that, a gas canister comes rolling down the stairs. In a span of like 2 minutes, they go from totally secure to completely compromised. The director is just a master of pacing here, building that tension until it's ready to snap.
And then the whole thing comes crashing down. Turns out the enemy wasn't trying to stop the convoy at all. They were just tracking it. A team of armed commandos hits the bunker, and this gas floods the room, paralyzing almost everyone. And this is probably the most important lesson in these kinds of games. You can fail. And not only can you fail, but sometimes failure is way more interesting than success. It just raises the stakes and gives you a whole new, desperate story to tell.
And even here, with their characters totally helpless, the players are still playing. They're still in character. One of them, whose character is this intense religious fanatic, can't even move a muscle. But he still delivers this absolutely chilling line, narrating his character's thoughts as the bad guys move in. That's what role-playing is all about.
There is one last, desperate attempt. One character manages to shake off the effects of the gas. A lucky roll. He goes invisible and tries to chase down the commandos, but it's no good. They're gone, and they've got the prisoner. The mission is an absolute, total failure. I mean, just look at the difference here. They started with one simple goal: capture a guy and deliver him. But by the end, that guy's been rescued by an even scarier enemy, their safe house is toast, and they've revealed a whole new group of people who want them dead. They didn't just fail, they made everything 100 times worse. And that's the beauty of it. It's completely unpredictable.
But here's the thing. That failure, it's not the end of the story. It's just the beginning of the next one. In a movie, this would be the end. But in a role-playing game, a disaster like this is the perfect cliffhanger. The players didn't lose. They just co-wrote a fantastic, thrilling, and disastrous first chapter. And now, everyone, them, the director, and us, is left with that one huge, tantalizing question. So, what happens next?